Whenever I talk about this, it always tends to be a little bit controversial. And what I'm talking about is 5 ways to determine if the alcoholic in your family has gotten so bad that you as a family member need to move on. Not necessarily give up, but you have to take care of your own mental health. And maybe it's time to, at the very minimum, to take a break or to step away from that, the alcoholic in your family. As difficult as that situation is, and no matter what the relationship is, sometimes you got to take a break. One of the obvious reasons it might be time to take a break is if they're physically or mentally abusive. If you're in harm's way and if you feel uncomfortable in their presence when they've been drinking, you definitely need to get out of that situation. But that's not the usual case. What you really want to worry about is when they've become a danger to themselves and everyone around themselves. They've had several DUIs and they continue to drink and drive. They put themselves in harm's way, and they put other people and innocent people in harm's way as well. They're not willing to get any help, and they're belligerent in that regard. There's only so much you can do as a family member, and you don't really want to be around for the tragedy that's definitely going to ensue. And again, if they're driving around with a restricted license, they've lost their license, they don't have car insurance, they have an uninsured vehicle, their car's not registered, they have warrants, and they're driving around drunk. I'm not saying abandon that person, that's not really the point. But if they're belligerent in trying to get help and they won't take ownership in putting people in harm's way, it may be time to disassociate yourself from that tragedy. Another thing is they've attended several rehabs. This is a big issue. Maybe they've been to 3, 4, 5 rehabs, but the problem is they don't do the aftercare work. They don't go to Smart Recovery or AA. They don't go to to get an accountability partner. They're not taking accountability. They're not taking ownership. And again, it's not necessarily that they're making bad behavior decisions. The disease is taken over, and they're not themselves. And how far down you want to go down that road you want to go is really up to you as a family member. But just be aware how it's affecting you at the very least. And I think the most frustrating thing for family members is when the alcoholic is in a deep, dark denial. It's everybody else's fault. They blame it on external issues, their parents, society, school, their work, their job, their kids, everything but themselves. And they continue to drink. And as a progressive disease, it gets worse and worse and worse. And they're not willing to accept help. They're not even willing to talk about it. And sometimes they're abusive if you even bring it up. There's not a whole lot you can do in that situation. I mean, you can't kidnap somebody and throw them in a rehab. They have to meet you 50% of the way. They got to meet you halfway to be willing to get help. And if that's not even an option, well, your options are limited as a family member to stay in that person's life. And if they're regularly binge drinking and they black out, they don't remember what's going on, and it's just become a very toxic, scary situation. They may even disappear for days. It's just drama, toxicity, stress, and frustration, and every other emotion for a family member. These are times when you have to think about parting ways. And again, if any of these issues resonate with you, please click on the link above. If you have a family member or if you're recognizing it in yourself, schedule a breakthrough call. I've helped a lot of people and their families over the years. Again, please like, share, and comment. And again, we also have a Facebook group that goes over alcoholic issues, this and really every angle about alcoholism. It's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism on Facebook. And again, thanks for listening.